Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode on this Tuesday afternoon of The Watch For With Me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Make some noise. Clap it up. Oh, wait, hold on. Clap it up, clap it up. Get excited wherever you are. We are back on this Tuesday afternoon with a whole bunch of stuff to discuss on today's episode for boxing and beyond, and more specifically, the return we've all been waiting on. The return I said would never happen. The return of the big fish to this ocean that we call the boxing world, and that's the return of Errol Spence Jr. He is officially back in action. Oh my indeed. I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I'm taken aback. I have no words. Actually, I got a lot of words that I'm going to be saying. We're going to be discussing with you all right here on the show. And we got that and so much more to cover, like with some inclinations at the heavyweight landscape with Daniel Dubois fighting against Fabio Wardley, allegedly as the next potential outing for the Dynamite Man himself, going up against another one of the most dynamite punchers in the world in Fabio Wardley for the IBF title. That rumored to be that's what's going to be going down, as well as so much more on this show. Like I said, everything I had kind of got turned up on his head by the fact that this fight,
ring, 80 million.
But strictly by the fact that this is that this is happening, just shook me up. I did not expect to have the notion that Errol Spence is coming back in and playing, but lo and behold, we here now, so we got to talk about that. We also got to talk about some more news with Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis. That again could break within the day, legitimately within the day, or within the week this week. That potentially, even with the litigation going on with Virgil Ortiz and Oscar De La Hoya, we could get the confirmation that that fight is going down in April, potentially done by the time Friday comes. Shoot, by the time this very show gets to the second hour. Who knows what's going to happen? All that and so much more we're going to cover on this show. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening. Yes, indeed. And please, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube. Be a part of this empire. Be a part of this conglomerate. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars there. Listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as please keep on liking the stream if you are here. Helps the stream out immensely. It helps the globe to see exactly what we got going on for this show, and helps the world to be able to recognize that this is the place to be. No question, for all of your sports, entertainment news. And please be sure, do the most important thing and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire. Together, all with you and your support, we can make it possible to go and claim the masses of the globe, the masses of the sports culture right here for our taking. Yes, sir, indeed, we can't do this without you. We appreciate all the love and support. And if you would like to support the channel monetarily and you want to keep this show going, hey, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, gifts, and all of the like. If you can give and support to the channel, it would mean the world to me. We want to hear your chats, want to hear your voice, want to hear your conversation. So hey, if you want to make sure it gets read, though we try to read everything, hey, throw some dollars our way. Give us some doubloons. Give homes to the empire, as we call it, to help make sure this show can keep on growing, thriving, and being more developed for your viewing and listening pleasure. No question about it. But we got a whole bunch to talk about. We got a lot of show to cover. We got a lot of debates to discuss. And without further ado, we got boxing to delve into. So it is time to step into the ring. Come on. Come on. Yes, indeed. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. Got my coffee, got my breakfast, got everything I need, and we got people in the chat before we even get started. Like with Al Booger. Wait, hold on. Did it click? There we go. Al, did it click? There we go. Al Booger, what's going on with it? How you doing? That's right. Big fish. The shark is back. The whale of boxing has returned in Errol Spence Jr. Again, that's going to be the first topic of discussion. There's a whole bunch of stuff discussing current today. I've been voted. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in with us on today. Jenny Beck has been found innocent. Well, that's the case, and thank goodness, thank gosh, maybe that will get him in line to actually get the fight with Arizona. Laura potentially unify the belts and maybe have enough of the legacy to potentially draw Terrence Crawford out of retirement. That might be something that could be down the line if we're going to see Crawford come back for anything. Since he said he fights for the legacy. We're going to see how it goes. But again, appreciate the update on the news that Jenny Beck is innocent. Lord Freezer, what's going on with you? How you doing? Gracing us with your presence. Thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. This one is Zorban, the most avoided. This one is Zorban. The most avoided at 154. Well, look, he might be, Zorban might be avoided. But I'm going to tell you this right now. He might be avoiding somebody, and that somebody could be Errol Spence Jr. Because if you didn't know, if you hadn't heard, if you had not seen it on your radar, it's confirmed, it's for real, it's the truth of the matter. But this pond just got a little more crowded as finally, after years and years of debating, of speculating, of anticipating the return of Errol Spence Jr. Some people, like myself, were anticipating the retirement announcement of Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., former unified champion at welterweight, one of the best welterweights of this era in boxing, has now made his way back to the ring, and he is returning against Tim Sue in his comeback fight in April. Is it April? Let me make sure I got the date right. It should be. What day? What was it? I thought it was. Was it not April? It should have been April, unless I got it wrong. It might be April. It might be April or May of this year. In fact, you know what? Let me stop asking questions. Let me do what I do best. Let's go into the sources as we delve into the world of the most vaunted cycle of media that we got. As we go over to Twitter and essentially click on the world of picture and picture. Yes, indeed. I'll let you see it for yourself. If you can't believe your eyes, if you can't believe your ears, believe your eyes, because it's here. It's happening. It is the truth. It is finality that he's back. I tell you, the brother who we thought was one of the most hardest hitting, most destructive, most bludgeoning forces that we have in the welterweight division has now officially, after saying he needed to move up for, 3 years ago, after the fight with Terrence Crawford, has now officially stepped up. He ain't fighting Fundor. He ain't fighting Keith Thurman. He's fighting Tim Sue to try to get back in the reins of the world of championship boxing, and more importantly, get to a title back around his waist. And I'll say this now, again, it's going to be in this summer, so we're going to more so April, May, or June is when we're going to see that whole fight transpire, which I'm very excited for. Hey, excited to see the return of one of the most disclosed and absolutely dynamite level fighters, punchers, and straight up boxers that we had the world in the palm of his hand, was seen as the man to beat in welterweight before we had Terrence Crawford come in and absolutely blow him asunder. But still, it's not disrespect. That's the truth of the matter. We just saw him go through, before the fight with Terrence Crawford, unify all of the divisions, get to pound for pound number 8 in the world, and look like everything was just going to be coming up roses, but he was going to be making the move up to potentially get the fight with Canelo, as we heard with Terrence Crawford. If Crawford had lost to Spence, Spence was going to get that fight with Canelo Alvarez. We could see a whole new run in history as to the makings of the legacy and just the timeline of the sports as a whole. But now we're here, we're back, and we're after 3 years. The Butler's returned, and he's finally dipping his toe back into the world of boxing. And there's a lot that we can discuss from the standpoint of, is he going to be ready? What's he going to be like? How is it going to be? Is this a good matchup? All this is and more we're going to discuss. So we're going to dive into it right here, right now. But let's read some of your chats real quick. Why does Max Kellerman say stupid things about Inoue? Now, I don't know exactly what he said about Inoue of recent. I do know that we've heard him say that Shakur may be the second or third best fighter in the world amongst that ranks. He feels that Shakur is the best in the world. Some of them on that panel said they thought he was better. Some of them said he wasn't the best in terms of ranking Shakur in the realm of top 3 to potentially number 1. And so the consensus around the panel was he was either second best or the best based on the averages of what everybody had for Shakur ranked in the pound for pound rankings of boxing. Now I don't agree, but that's what he said. That's his opinion. Now I think it's wrong. I think he's got more food, but him still. That's my opinion. But I'm not gonna fight that he's in that conversation. I just don't think that he's better. From the standpoint that Shakur is better than Inoue and Usyk and Ben Rodriguez. That's me. That's why I got him as fourth. Understandably, saying he has not knocked out anyone at 122. Well, now I thought he had knocked out somebody. No, I think it means he hasn't knocked out anybody of quote unquote high mark note. Even though everybody he's beaten has been great to good as well as he's been the high mark that everybody's trying to attest to. Mind you, these were the same people that were saying that Nick Ball could give Inoue a world of trouble. We know what happened to Nick Ball over the weekend. If you didn't get to see that fight, he got knocked down. He got knocked out. I'm sorry, got his butt knocked out the ring. And I told y'all, he's gonna get reckless and he's gonna let his aggression get the best of him. And everything that I said would happen to Inoue happened against Brandon Figueroa. We have a new 126-pound featherweight champion in Brandon Figueroa. So congratulations to him. But like I said, we'll discuss that later on in the show. Point being, I said what was gonna happen, and it happened. Just not against Inoue, but it was the same issue the less. But if they're saying his power can't translate and all that stuff, like I said, I don't agree. I'm just keeping it simple as that. I just do not agree at all. But let me see. Lawrence Freezer, Errol Spence might knock everybody out and beat Tim. He need to knock. Hey, look, you're right. Let's talk about the ramifications of this first and foremost with this whole comeback situation. Errol Spence has been in a rut. Not a rut. Rut might be a wrong word. He's been in limbo of questioning its drive and wanting to return to the ring. He's been some people would say willy-nilly. Some people would say wishy-washy. Some people, myself, would say he's been unmotivated to get back into the ring. And I understood because he had his family, he had his kids, he was spending time on vacation, he was doing everything. He still looked like he was in great shape, but he was, your health is the best thing. That's what I thought was going down the pipe for Errol Spence in his career, because it seemed like he was content with just, hey, I'm good. And he kept saying, I'll return when I'm ready. And we thought that's just code for it. Yeah, I'll leave the door open, but most likely I'm not coming back. Well, he's back now. And since he's coming back, we now have him going up against another. Well, in all honesty, we talked about this fight, Tim Tszyu versus Errol Spence Jr., as a fight that would make sense upwards of about 2 years ago when Tszyu had gotten knocked out, or rather had gotten beaten by Fundora, and then got knocked out by Bakram. And we were saying if we're going to see a comeback between Tim Tszyu and Spence, it's a fight that would make sense. Two people coming back trying to retool themselves and battle of the old guard, per se, from the standpoint of this division, because Errol Spence is moving up. He needs to make a splash against somebody that's respectable. Tim Tszyu, if he wants to keep the relevancy of I'm still a legit championship contender, I need to beat Spence at minimum just to have anybody taking me seriously at this landscape and time in this deep 154-pound division. They needed each other. They really did. And they still do. Now, mind you, we just had Tim Tszyu come back and have a win. I believe also we're going to see Tim Tszyu have another tune-up. If I have some of my information correct, it could be wrong, but we'll see what happens. But we can see Tim Tszyu have another tune-up. Errol Spence doesn't look like he's taking a tune-up at all, and he's going straight into the fire of, okay, I'm fighting against this essentially I don't want to say gatekeeper, but essentially a gatekeeper at this 154-pound division. Amongst everybody at 154, Tim Tszyu is outside of the top 10, but he still can win his way back into that regime very quickly. Now, when it comes to the preparation for Errol Spence Jr., well, the biggest question that we all know, that we're all trying to ask, how in the world is he going to look when he comes back? Now, I don't care what we say when it comes to Tim Tszyu. Lord, we know what we have with Tim Tszyu right now. A very convoluted instance of somebody who is waning between still a threat in the division and potential gatekeeper for this division. More so gatekeeper right now at this current landscape with the recent run of his career. He still is a good fighter, but he has regressed to a good fighter because he used to be seen as a great fighter and one of the most dominant, or rather one of the most, I don't want to call him boogeyman, but one of the faces of this division, as well as a talent, was seen very much highly as top 2 to 3 in the world of 154. Dropped down severely from that. So he dropped down from great to good. But we need to see if Spence can even get up to good in the first place. And that's what we don't know. Because of that long layoff and with no tune-up, which I'm a little bit concerned about, I don't like this notion that Spence is just going to come back into the 4A and completely decimate the likes of Tim Tszyu. Though, if that did happen, hey, that would be phenomenal. Hey, my God. My goodness, if that did take place. We got some problems here. If that did take place, you want to talk about an insane dichotomy of straight-up action, intrigue, as well as shock and awe. My gosh, it shows more so the greatness of Terrence Crawford to beat somebody who can come in off a 3-year layoff and just decimate a very respectable fighter at this point in time in Tim Tszyu, in the same way that we saw Bakram do it, if that is what happens. But regardless of which, that potential best case scenario is very mumuch unknown because Spence himself is unknown. But I would like to hear your thoughts on all of this stuff in regards to the return of Spence, because this is big. This is huge. I'm not gonna lie. But let me see. I picked Brandon Figueroa to KO Nick Ball. Hey, look, I was wrong on that fight. I'll be perfectly honest. I was wrong on that fight. I thought that we were gonna see Nick Ball knock out Sebastian Fundora, because in Brandon Figueroa, because I thought that Figueroa would not be able to handle the aggression of an all-out infight that we had with Nick Ball. But Brandon Figueroa actually did great boxing on the outside, then was able to still be aggressive and make Nick Ball continue to run that seemingly endless gas tank of stamina. And I dare say he got tired at the end of the rounds. And that's what helped to get that face-planting knockdown that he scored, and ultimately knocking him out through the ropes and getting a championship around his waist. And also, real quick, side note, whoever the world was it that kicked the team of Figueroa after Nick Ball got knocked out? What the word are you doing? You should be fined and banned. Apparently it was because Nick Ball was getting oxygen and they felt it was disrespectful that Figueroa was celebrating. But if Figueroa wasn't celebrating in any way that was out of the norm for you getting a championship, none at all. None at all. And so that's belligerent and ignorant, and you should be fined. Dare I say potentially suspended for doing something like that? Because that's more than unsportsmanlike, more than disrespectful. There should be no place for that, at least in my estimation. But let me see. Floyd lost $340 million supposedly to Al Heyman. He might need to come out of retirement to fight Crawford. Good gosh, I hope he does not. He gonna get you. That O is going to go if that is the case. But I did hear about this lawsuit. Apparently, money was withheld from Floyd Mayweather. It was either after the Pacquiao fight or after one of the fights that he had. And this brother, oh boy, something about potentially a contract situation was messing up. I don't know all the details. I just know Floyd, hey man, that business acumen, if this all is true, might not be as, it could be true what they be saying. You fight. Every time you fight was because you went broke. I'm not saying that's the truth or not. I'm just saying that the optics at this point in time, that's a little bit sketchy. But even still, we can digress on that later on in the show. Let me see. It's like they don't want anyway to be top no more. I think it's just like Shakur, and he's the hot guy in town. And I get the respect, but I'm just telling you, if Shakur was better than Inoue, I would tell you. I would say, I would be one of the first to preach it. Because somebody's better than that cat, and that's something different. But I just don't think he is, and he also just has not accomplished enough, even though he's a 4-division champion, which is incredible. Now I think unified and lineal, so perfect. But it's just, this is the biggest leap to get that moniker, which he deserves. Also had 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, which was above what I thought was going to happen. When I said it was going to show he can be a decent star. No, he can be a real superstar. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. That's a good chunk of change. One good chunk, buddy. That shows you got some drawing power. You ain't as boring as people may feel. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. Either way, Moon Man, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Leave a like on the stream since you're here. Go on ahead. We want to still hear your thoughts and opinions. All of you, we wanted you to join in on the conversation. Keep on talking. Keep on divulging your opinions and thoughts on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. Specifically, we're talking about Spence and Tim Tszyu. The announced fight is official. They will be fighting in the summer. It is signed that the big fish is back in the boxing world, and everybody's all excited for it. No question. But let me see what you got to say on today. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I forgot I got to put out this super chat goal for this stream. We got to have some incentive somehow. There we go. Okay, yep, here we go. Now we're cooking with grease. Let's see what we got to say on there. We're gonna try to set this 10 super chat goal. See how it goes. We're gonna try to earn our keep and make sure y'all want to see what we got going on. But even still, everyone is on since you're on Shakur's head. He's a great fighter technically, but he's not the most exciting or most eye-catching fighter. He isn't the money that he isn't the money man. Is David Benavidez the monster, most exciting and ferocious? And it's like, how do we say this? And actually, I might, since y'all want to talk about Shakur so much, I might actually have a title card for that. Let me see if I do. Can I make a title card? You know what? I'll make a title card since we're talking about Shakur as a consistent thing in this conversation. We'll come back to the Errol Spence conversation. We're gonna go with the flow of the show. There we go. Okay, there we go. We'll go with the flow of the show. We'll change on the fly. We ain't got no issue there. And we'll make it do what it do right here, right now for the public to see. But with Shakur, he is he is a phenomenal fighter. As a pure fighter, he is one of the best in the world. He is deserving, in my opinion, of this type of praise. He should be talked about in the same vein as the Ben Rodriguez's, Inoue's, and Usyk's of this era in boxing. I truly do believe that he deserves to be seen as one of the top 4 fighters in the world. Absolutely. Now, just because I don't think he's above Inoue or Bam or Usyk, that doesn't detract from his skill set, as well as when we talk about the David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. You gotta understand, David Benavidez, he's getting ready to potentially take over that same spot of Shakur Stevenson. And we see him beat Zurdo Ramirez after dominating 168, after dominating 175, not getting the deserved opportunities at both of those divisions when he was working to elevate himself to championship status, because he was either avoided or people just legit did not fight him. And now if he fights Zurdo, all of a sudden he would have gone above and beyond the weight class that we saw Canelo fight at and be successful at, as well as be what's seen as arguably the best light heavyweight, cruiserweight in the land. Arguably, if you want to put Jaya Patai above Zurdo, perfectly fine. But the straight up unified champion, who, mind you, had fought against Bivol before, and you beat him at this big weight class, brother. Now we're talking about, okay, you then also belong in that same conversation. I got him at what, 5th? I got him at 5. So I'm not trying to detract from Benavidez. I'm not trying to detract from Inoue. I can give praise, and people can give praise to the likes of Shakur without going overboard. Because at this point in time, his status as a champion, as a star, and as a talent all match up to deserve this type of rhetoric surrounding his name. It deserves it. He deserves this type of rhetoric surrounding his name because he is such a dynamite, dominant star. Not dynamite from the standpoint of he's knocking you out, but he's such a skilled practitioner that everything else about him just gleams with excellence. And it's ridiculous. And he's driven. And he ain't ducking nobody. He ain't running from nobody. He's taking on challenges and tests. He's continuing to move up. He is acting like a champion in every way possible that we would want. And so, like, I don't think that I don't buy into the overreacting of Shakur because I believe in Shakur. At the same breath, I got him fourth in the world. He can do more to elevate higher. He can do more to get up to 3, 2, or even potentially 1. If anybody's going to have the makings to become the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, it would be Shakur Stevenson. If anybody's got the makings to do it, if anybody has the capacity to do it, he could be one of them. Absolutely. But I wouldn't call it overhyped. And especially now as a star, we've seen him again. We saw the pay-per-view numbers coming back from Teofimo Lopez and Shakur at the event in New York. Like, you can say, okay, it was Teo as also a reason why that event sold out the way that it did. That's true. We can say the same thing with Ryan Garcia and Tank. Ryan Garcia Tank after Ryan Garcia never got close to that insane barometer of revenue and pay-per-view buys for one fight. And we don't delve into business, we stick with the fights more so than anything. But if we're going to go there, we can go there. And we can say, do we detract from Tank as a star in the sport? No. What it takes two to tango to bring that type of pedigree. But the fact that you are one of the names that helped to bring that type of eye on this sport, and it was felt that your impact as a star in this fight help sell this thing even more, showed you the people are willing to see. Showed you that, okay, you got a name that people are not just recognizing, but they were actually coming out to see, regardless of what the public may say about your style. So I think it fits the bill. But David Benavidez, he's absolutely a monster. In a way, it's the monster. Bam, Usyk, all them, Elf, that's the entire top 5. And they deserve praise. And I think now we're at a point in time where all of them are getting the respect that they deserved. Because they're out of the shadow of some of their compatriots that were not doing as much, or rather were hindering them, but yet they were getting to shine more bright. Like with the Canelos when it comes to David Benavidez. Like with the Tanks when it came to Shakur Stevenson. Shakur was doing all this stuff, but Tank was getting all the shine. Shakur was getting belts, but Tank was still getting the bravado and the public appeal. Now, they've either lost or they're out the way. And we're seeing the respect laden where it deserves, which I'm excited for, absolutely. No doubt about it. But let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about Errol Spence coming back, not gonna lie. Yeah, I am too. Look, I'll be serious. And again, like I said, we're jumping around and we're touching on everything. But look, I am absolutely excited. Who wouldn't be? Why wouldn't he? This is incredible. This is the emotions, the feeling, the excitement. So mind you, we were saying, and remember, we I think a couple of months ago, to almost a year ago, we had a question about if Spence did come back, would he even still be a huge star? Has the power of his name lost the ability to draw or cultivate? Has he lost fans? Do people care about Spence? And I'm telling you right now, everybody still cares about him. People that thought that he just fallen off, his fan base and the whole of boxing, people think that when Spence lost, everybody turned on him. Nobody turned on Spence after that loss to Terrence Crawford. Everybody was excited to see him coming back, and they wanted to see him fight at 154 because they thought, rightfully so, hey, he said that he needed to move up. He can't make this weight, so he's got to, really get acclimated. Do what he got to do. And get to a point where he can really be the best version of Spence. Then won that fight back with Terrence Crawford. We were just waiting, anticipating. We weren't sitting there saying you're a bum, you're a bust, you don't deserve nothing. We were sitting saying, when you come back, we're gonna want to see what you're like. We're gonna want to see how you can fight. We're gonna want to support you. I want to support Errol Spence. I love watching Errol Spence fight. He's a dog. He's a bruiser. He's an animal. He goes through and he breaks faces and breaks bones. He's got everything you would want as an exciting fighter. He's a good technical fighter. He's tough. He's rigid. You couldn't hurt him. He could bring the fight to you. He could go downstairs to the body. He was a bludgeoning force to be reckoned with. We loved Errol Spence. Breaking people's faces and the orbital bones. He was doing it all. Look at what he did to Ugas. Look at what he did to Kell Brook. Look at the water he went into with Sean Porter. This man can go. This man can go. But it's just the fact that we were just so starved for wanting to see him return that even I was saying, hey, look, we got to forget about him. He's gone. He's not coming back. Thankfully, he is back. So now the question is, how is he going to be? That's what I want to hear from you all tuning in. Let me see, Moon Man, what you got to say? Usyk, Inoue, Bivol, Bam, Beterbiev, Benavidez, Haney. If we're talking about, I believe this would be in reference to pound for pound. That's what it sounds like. Usyk at 1, Inoue at 2, Bivol at 3, Bam at 4, Beterbiev at 5, Benavidez at 6, Haney at 7. So I would assume if you did have Shakur up there on this list, he will be around that 8 to 10 range. Again, taking the spot of what was previously Teofimo Lopez. Now, I had that as the baseline if Shakur won. But depending on the dominance, he could elevate even higher. Hence why I got him at 4, because he dominated Teo to where it wasn't even close. That was something that was like, okay, I got to give him a different level of respect. But this is your pound for pound. Hey, look, I'm not going to trash it. It's not a bad list at all. It's not a bad. The only thing, I would have just put Bam above Bivol. I would have put Bam above Bivol as the top 3. If this was my list for the names that you have within that top 7 or 6, but that's just me. But either way, I'm not fighting. It's interesting to see you all's opinions. I want to see how you all feel about this, because this is a very, the landscape of boxing is changing. The landscape of the faces of this sport, the people that, the barometers, the standards, the drawers, for example, the people that draw the people in, the men and women to beat, it's shifting. And so we want to, everybody's got opinions. I want to see how you all feel. Let me see. I got Spence on this one. He should be better and more healthy from the accident and body after Crawford brought damage. After Crawford brought the damage good. He fought an old boxing-wise Canelo. And so Spence, see, you know what? Yeah, I'll be the first to say, in the comeback fight, I will say that I got Spence beating Tim Tszyu. But that's not off the fact of I think that Spence is going to be a better fighter. That's more so off of hope at this point in time, because I'm hoping that we do see Spence win. I really do. Because the detraction is, if we're going to be, in the reality, I don't know exactly what type of Spence we're going to have back. What is it that Spence has lost since being out of the ring? Since the fight with Terrence Crawford? Has it been that the timing, the rhythm of Spence is gone? Because, he had a cadence, he had a rhythm. How he threw his hooks, how he threw his shots downstairs, that vaulted left straight to the head or body. He had a rhythm of what he could do to go and make all of that offense so effective. Has he lost that? Has he lost kind of the touch and feel of how he would flow when it comes to fighting against anybody, let alone fighting against somebody like Tim Tszyu, who, though Tim Tszyu is routinely having a slow start, we're dealing with the Tszyu, if he still does carry a level of power that is incredibly dangerous. He still does carry something that, if he does catch you clean in Errol Spence, well, it could be something very damaging. Has that chin. Forget just the Terrence Crawford fight, just because of age and time off. Has that chin taking a regressive stance since he's been out of the ring, to where the punishment he can take is not the same anymore. The stamina, how's the stamina going to look since he's coming back to boxing? Can he go 10 rounds, 12 rounds without having to worry about gassing out and conserving himself in the early fight? Can he still go with the same ferocity to the basement, upstairs, and with the hooks and punishing blows of breaking down the opponent? As the fight gets later and later, you get stronger and stronger. Can that happen for Spence? Or will he just potentially be like, I'm breathing a little bit heavy, have a little bit of that Big Bang Jang-esque approach to boxing, where all of a sudden it's round 5 and you sucking wind a little earlier than you expected? I'm not saying this is going to be the case. I'm saying that's a predicament that could take place. We just don't know. We just do not know. Let me see. Large Freezer, Haney above Benavidez. I'm not going to fight you. If you have Haney above Benavidez, he does have an argument. No, what you do. Now, I think that Benavidez should be above Haney. But, again, that's me. Your list is your list, so I'm not going to fight it. I think that Benavidez, because of the work that he's done of recent, the unquestioned performances that he's had against real dogs, the only reason why he isn't de facto for me, for a lot of people, is because of the fact that when it came time to get the names on the level of a Haney, like a Canelo, like a Bivol, even like a Archer Beterbiev, he wasn't able to get him. If he beats Zerto, he's above Haney. If he beats Zerto Ramirez, he's above Haney. I'm saying that right now. I've stood on that since the day MS, who came on this channel, got on here and told us that essentially broke the news that the future plans for Benavidez was to fight Zerto straight up if he didn't get that Bivol fight, and it was already a done deal. Since that happened, when I got word of that and then got confirmed, I've been saying that the whole time. If he does indeed beat Zerto at his first fight at cruiserweight of all things, we were saying that that's the weight class where everybody is indeed as big as Dave Benavidez, let alone arguably the best in the world at cruiserweight, arguably, at least tied for number 1 or at worst number 2. And Zerto, you beat him the same way you beat Yard, same way you beat Dave Morrell, same way you beat Gavazdik. Boy, that rockets him up. That for me, that indeed does. Benavidez never been undisputed. You're right, he hasn't been undisputed. But again, contextually, it wasn't because of his own lack of moving to get to the position, as we covered multiple times on this show. But if he did beat Zerto, he'd be unified. If he beat Jaya Patai, who didn't become undisputed, and there's some people, I can't remember if Bam Rodriguez is undisputed or just unified for multiple divisions, but he deserves it. Bivol, I think it's undisputed. Kittle's undisputed, but he also didn't fight or during his reign. Yes, he fought good names, but then off the tail end, fighting people who were like, you should be fighting Dave Benavidez, not Ryder. Should be fighting Dave Benavidez, not Berlanca. But what we've covered, that whole situation with Canelo, regardless. But even still, Benavidez being undisputed, that is not his fault. We've covered that multiple times. That is not his fault. Curry's top 4, top 5 at worst. Yeah, that's what I agree. I do agree. Shakur is indeed top 4 at best. Potentially top 2 at best if you want to make an argument. But top 4 as like a general baseline. Top 5, absolutely. In my estimation, absolutely. Even with him not being undisputed, he's above Bivol. He's above Beterbiev. He's above these other champions, not because they aren't great, but this is just something different. Let me see. Tim's chin is food now. It might be, and this is what makes this fight so intriguing, because the degrading of perception with Tim Tszyu, with the skills and the fires it's gone through, essentially taking something out of him. We're all saying, wait a minute now. This is going to be a fight that this is a perfect comeback fight, because as much of a dangerous Tim Tszyu is, the vulnerabilities that if we indeed are going to see Spence be the same dominant Spence that we remember, this would be the guy that you could show it with. You can bust him up. You can walk him down. You can hurt him. He doesn't move his head a whole bunch. His defense ain't that great at all. He's there to go into a firefight, and if you are indeed able to out-tough him, more importantly, if you can sting him first, got yourself a great opportunity to put in a dominant performance, and you can potentially put out his chin. Absolutely. So this is incredibly interesting. Let me see. I think you got to go with Haney over Benny right now today. Look, that Brian Norman Jr. win helped him out immensely. Immensely. Because the conversations were, before that fight, were completely different surrounding Devin Haney. Completely different surrounding. I was of the stout volition that we weren't even, after that fight with Jose Ramirez, many people had taken him out the top 10 outright. I was looking at people pound list, and outside of fans, like Haney fans, people weren't even having him as a pound because of the level of dropping sentiments that were around Devin Haney. Now, at this fight with Brian Norman Jr., we gave him respect. I'll take it back to pound for pound. I'll say he's back up to the top of the ranks, and he's within that top 6, top 5 range. I think I had him there. Who did I have? I had Inoue, Usyk, Bam. Now, Shakur. I had Benavidez. I had Bivol, Devin Haney, Archie Beterbiev. I think Canelo was like 10th. And who was it I had at ninth? I can't remember who I had at ninth. But about that 6 or 7 range where I had Benavidez or Devin Haney after that fight with Brian Norman Jr. For me, whatever he was right in between Bivol and Archie Beterbiev. Whatever ranking I had, he was right in between Bivol and Archie Beterbiev with that win because he deserved it. He did. And so that's either 6 or 7. One of those two with stout competition in front of him. Again, for me, this ain't me trying to cast some hate. This is my opinion. But if you want to argue him above Benavidez, yeah. Like I said, you can make an argument, absolutely, especially with the previous laden legacy that he's already established. Yes, indeed, yeah, it's great, and he does deserve to be talked about as such. He's a bad brother. Let me see. Benavidez said he's going to fight Zerto, then Bivol, then Beterbiev. That's his hit list. Yeah, yep, I do remember. He did say he was going to fight Bivol, Beterbiev, and Bivol. And Zerto was gonna fight all 3 of them, but and my gosh, if he does that, he's the best. Now, if he does that, he goes through that gauntlet. I'm sorry, he's the best in the world. I'm sorry. I said that. I think I said that straight up. We had this same conversation. What if he did X, Y, and Z of this very triumvirate of talent, or just as incredible, Zerto, Jai Apatai becomes undisputed and then goes back down to fight Bivol or goes up to fight at heavyweight to potentially get a shot at the world championship. Hypothetically, because he was saying heavyweight can be in the cards for him in his career. He does any of those 2 routes at this current time, it would be hard for me not to say, yeah, that brother should be seen as the best in the world. It would be hard for me not to say that brother should be seen as the best in the world. That's preposterous. That's ridiculous. That's insane. You've been the best matchup for Canelo. You've been the best matchup for Beterbiev. You've been one of the best matchups for Beterbiev. You didn't get any of those fights, and now to make up for it, you take out the best at cruiserweight, and you potentially go and you move up and you get a shot at the world championship against who knows who. By the time you get up there in that division, within the next year or two, with what Benavidez has said he wants to do with his career. He goes through that ring. He goes through that type of run and reigns while doing it. Yeah, no, that's something different. That would be something different. Boy, that would be something. That would be something insane if we did see that occur. I'd be shocked. Genuinely, I'd be taken aback. I'd shoot, man. There would be nothing else to say except for this cat is the best in the land if he went through that type of run. But we're going to see what happens as we continue to transpire and watch things grow. And we still got more to cover in the world of boxing. We want to still spend time getting your questions and thoughts on the whole of boxing. We don't forget, we still got to talk about Boots and Virgil Ortiz with a potential fight getting loomed to happen by the time this week is over. We got to discuss that as well. But let me see, Moon Man, he the most avoided boxer today by far. It don't come close. No, you're right, he is. And it's a shame. It's a shame that he is avoided in such a way, because part of the reason what we've talked about with Benavidez is he has had the opportunities to take this reign or take the rungs of being one of the tops in the world by everybody's metrics, being a marketable sellout, having everybody want to tune into his fights, having everybody know his name in a grand scale like with some of the best in the world, having his style captivate the masses, be one of the pinnacles that makes boxing come back, because everybody's trying to tune in to see this 6'2" monster come in and with blazing hand speed that can keep up with sticking Ryan Garcia run through divisions. But he can be funny, but he's got a mean streak, more than a mean streak, but he will talk smack with you as well as press you in every way with the Ultimate Warrior's heart and spirit. He's done everything we want to see. It's just been when it came time for the crowning moment, he was denied the crown. And now he's saying, I'm going to make my own crown, which I'm happy. I'm excited for. But he is the most avoided. He absolutely is the most avoided, because every single time we see his brother go through and work, he just will. Something always happens. Something always happens, or an excuse gets made that is wrong. I can't fight another Mexican like Canelo. I can't fight another Mexican fighter, even though, like Benavidez said, y'all were saying I wasn't Mexican, so that wasn't a problem. Now it is a problem, because we don't want to support our people, even though we've had all Mexican wars before that has helped to uplift the entirety of our community and has lived on in infamy amongst the Mexican community. When two great warriors go at it against each other, why in the world would that? Why would you not want to see that? Why would that be an issue now? It's a bunch of reckless stuff, but that's what he's running into every single time. But let me see what you got to say. Boots versus Ortiz is gonna be 100% a banger. Hey, look, you doggone right, it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be phenomenal. As we're switching gears in the world of boxing and conversations, Boots versus Virgil Ortiz is now looking to be a legit, I don't want to say done deal, because that can have people going through and running with stuff that may not be confirmed. But it is looking like that these talks that we've been saying we want to transpire is officially coming down the wire, where it will actually happen. And I was shocked at anybody to see it. And I'll show you the reports myself as we delve into the world of picture-in-picture real quick. But let me see what you got to say. Then he went and carried Jermaine SMH. Let me see. Jermaine. Hold on. Jaime. Oh, yeah. Jaime Munguia. Yeah, I think you're talking about Jaime Munguia in terms of Canelo. Yeah. He wouldn't get. Then you say you can't fight Mexicans. You don't want to fight Mexicans. You don't want to break your people apart. And then you willingly fight what was touted as a potential next young Mexican star in Jaime Munguia. The same buddy who you're now taking under your wing and he's training with you in your camp. You fought him. Young lion, old lion. what was perceived as a potential passing of the torch or a lesson that can be learned for another potential Mexican star at that point in time. 42-0, multiple knockouts at 160, looked like a real threat, moving up to 168. Oh my gosh. The story was there, but you did that, but you didn't fight David Benavidez. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It is reckless. It's a reckless use of, exactly, Jaime Munguia. Yep, you're absolutely right. Jaime Munguia. I had to think for a second, but yeah, he went and you did that. That's the problem. That's really the problem. You used an excuse and then you let go of that excuse to fight somebody else that was fitting the same bill as I can never do that. And then you say, I'm Mexican or not, I'll fight anybody afterwards, after the fight with Jaime Munguia, and you still don't fight David Benavidez. After he said he'll take a pay cut. Remember the brother said he'll take the minimum, he'll take $5 million. He said that verbatim. He will take $5 million base. And you can get the rest of the money. He said that. In the interview, he said that. Or whatever the low number was. Hey, I'll take the low number. Just give me a chance. And he still never got the opportunity. That's what I hate about David Benavidez. He never got the shine or the chance to have the shine because people kept running away from him. They literally kept making excuses to go away from him. And I hate it. I do indeed hate it nonetheless. But even still, back to the conversation at hand with Boots and Virgil Ortiz. As you can see right here, as we transition over into picture-in-picture. Again, please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. We still want to hear from you, the masses, about the world of boxing as a whole. But we got so much more in store on today. As you can see, Boots and Virgil is slated to happen in April of this year. Oh boy, my God.
Hey, look at this.
Can you believe it?
We got some problems
Can you
here.
believe it? Can you believe it? It is a potential, almost done deal. And I say that tentatively, but I say that with a lot of hope because even in the midst of this whole litigation with Ortiz and Oscar De La Hoya, he's drinking some coffee, trying to get out of the contract, trying to leave Golden Boy as a whole. Look, talk about missing out on money because of the contract stuff, them not having to deal with the zone, also making the contract null and void. Allegedly, this looked like it was going to be a minute. Now it's looking like we may actually get it. And I told you all constantly, this fight we will see this year, even if it's late this year. We will see that fight this year one way or another. We gonna see it this year one way or another. Because it is too much money and necessity on the line. You have to understand, look at the greater landscape of the boxing world at 154 right now. With Spence, with Majimov, with Fundora and Keith Thurman. Now with Boots in it as well and Virgil Ortiz in the mix, you've gotten about 9 to 10 to, dare I say, 12 names. Just straight up name names that are in the division that have a cachet and pool of, I want to see them fight against them. I want to see somebody fight against somebody else. I want to see where this mountain of talent will go once the landslide starts falling and the rocks start crashing into each other. I want to see it. And Boots and Virgil is one of the biggest dominoes that I've talked about for years. And especially now with Spence coming back into the foray. And if we do somehow, some way see Spence beat Keith Thurman. If we do somehow, some way see Spence beat Tim Tszyu, get back into a championship picture, that fight against either one of these stars would be huge, would be massive, let alone with the understanding that this fight with Virgil and Boots, will put themselves in a position to get a championship immediately, right afterwards. And Errol Spence, if he wins, Tim Tszyu, if he goes through and loses to Spence gets a shot at a championship. Virgil or Boots, depending on that winner, they get a shot at Fundora or Keith Thurman. They win. All of a sudden, Spence is back in line for a title picture. Boots or Virgil Ortiz gets the opportunity to fight against a star from the standpoint of a legend that's going to bring massive amounts of money. The return versus the crowning. What will happen? Buddy, that's a lot of money on the line. The timeline of what can happen continues to go and branch out. This is a big deal. This is a huge deal. This is a deal that I get with this amount of stakes on top of this fight. Boy, it's got to happen. And they see it too. They see the writing on the wall. Don't forget, money with Charlotte, money with Spence, money with, each other. That's 3 big paychecks back to back to back that something can happen with. They need it. They want it. They got to have it. And I'm excited for it. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait at all. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say in the chat down below as we go back into our conversation. Let me see. Al Booger, you said, yeah, he said he would take the movie. Yep, he did. I knew I wasn't crazy. He did say that. And he still never got a response. And WBC never made him a mandatory. Yet they will strip Shakur Stevenson right after getting a title. Trust me, we're going to talk about that as well with the whole dichotomy of the demanding money, why Crawford was right and why he said this belt don't mean nothing to me, and why, especially at this interview that they had with, was it Chris Mannix? Was it Chris Mannix that he had an interview with? Somebody just recently. We're going to also, if we can find a clip, take a look at it as well. There's a lot of problems right now. The belts are losing more and more shine, and it's of their own volition. But let me see. Oscar's got to go. He's messing with the fighters. It's all about how much money Oscar's making. That's why everyone leaves. Yes. More importantly, Oscar De La Hoya, with all the money that he does make, it's not about just not paying the fighters. He is hindering fighters from getting opportunities to fight in certain dimensions. Like with Virgil Ortiz, mind you, Virgil wants this fight with Boots. And Oscar's coming in and he's making demands like this on behalf of Virgil, that Virgil's saying that ain't what we're trying to do. From the standpoint of you're messing up the leverage, or we ain't asking for that. We want to fight and you trying to get us the A side. You're about trying to go through and rob us blind because you are about to put us in a position where we're going to be out in a way that it's going to be horrible. It's going to mess us up. Again, potentially losing out on money is part of the reason why that lawsuit is occurring. We are looking at Oscar De La Hoya as a stain for a lot of people because a lot of people see Oscar De La Hoya as a non-fighter friendly type of promoter. More importantly, a sabotaging promoter. And it's a shame. Because he's been in this business, he should know. As a fighter, how to not do stuff over against other fighters, and he keeps on doing stuff over. And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Let me see. Cut Creator, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Hopefully leave a like on the stream. Hopefully you share the show. We got a whole bunch of action to discuss with Spence and his return, with Boots and Ortiz potentially happening within the week, getting signed officially as a deal, as well as more stuff around the landscape of boxing and the sports world. Hey, hope we want to see what you got to say. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And please, if you can support the channel, hey, Cash App, PayPal, links down below, super chats and super gifts, all that stuff. If you can support, would mean the world to me. Help us to go and edify the show and invest in the show more and more and more. But let me see, I just watched it. It was Chris Mannix. Thank you. Okay, thank you for the interview. I watched Chris Mannix that interviewed Suleiman and regarding the fairness at which the WBC was allowed to demand, what was it? I believe it was $100,000 or more from Shakur Stevenson when the WBC belt wasn't on the line in the first place for Shakur versus Tio. When it was the WBO and like the lineal and all that other stuff. But it wasn't WBC. And a lot of, again, too many letters, number one. Too many, this is part of the reason, too many belts. Part of number one. Part of number two, as we can actually delve into this whole WBC situation. We can actually delve into that a little bit right here for you all to kind of listen and see. But Shakur, because it still doesn't revolve around Shakur Stevenson. Shakur is now making the same noise that we were seeing the likes of Terrence Crawford make, where you are trying to do me over when it comes to my money as a sanctioning body, because you are overreaching your stay and welcome as a fighter at this or as a belt commission with this type of egregious sentiment of trying to throw your way and say you deserve something that you really don't be deserving. Understand, and correct me if I'm wrong. There might be, I read something, and again, please take it with a grain of salt. Just give me the information I've only heard and read. Trying to fact check it as much as I could, but I'm still kind of unsure. So a little bit different. So I say this with an immense amount of salt, so much that your blood sugar might run high. But this might have been a thing for a while, that the WBC would take portions of money out of the purses of fighters, even if their belt wasn't necessarily on the line, if they moved up or down in the division, as long as they were still reigning as a champion in a division or any division that had the big green belt around their waist. Allegedly. Fact check that absolutely to make sure that is the truth. Please do. Please do. So we can make sure that we're on the same page and ain't nobody doing and that we are not coming and giving you false information. Fact check that for yourself. But at minimum, for this specific instance, it is happening now that Shakur was essentially forced to either pay the stuff or let go. And he let go, or rather he got stripped. And now Suleiman's coming out here talking all this type of smacking rhetoric, essentially saying we're worth $100 million, we're worth however much we want because of the fact that we are an established organization. Like I said, I'm trying to find the clip so I can show you exactly what Suleiman had said. But we're this, that, and the third. And this is not something that is out of proportion. And that's just a bold-faced. The best thing I can say, keep my emotions in check. That's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. A bold-faced lie. Simply because of the fact that, especially in today's current climate of boxing, there is no longer, while the belts are impactful, the belts, especially now, are not bigger than the fighters. And you trying to overly extend your power and reach against boxers who make your belt and your legacy worth anything in the first place is the very thing that has the viability of Zuffa coming out as a potential real possibility to this may actually work. The searching for an alternative. As much as we say that Zuffa's got a bunch of issues that can come about immediately, especially with fighter pay, we're saying that the very fact that why it's viable, that it might work for people in some people's eyes, is strictly because of the fact of what we see right now. With this what's supposed to be one of the most respected belts in the entirety of the boxing globe coming in and moving just like the counterparts that would go, or just like the corrupt businessmen that would go and do things that would take advantage of the people who make their company great. And it's a shame. It really is a shame. Let's see. He's silly, greedy, and arrogant. He is. He absolutely is, and I hate it. Let me see. Also, a cut creator has Spence came out and said this is the picture. Oh, yes, if you didn't know, just to be perfectly clear, we'll make sure everybody knows. Tim Sue, Errol Spence, is being officially announced. And like I said, I was going to go to the world of picture in picture. Let me actually pull it up right now so you can get the announcement. We talked about that earlier in the show as kind of the first 30 minutes of this show. But Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Sue is confirmed. He is coming back. It's so fit. The big fish is here. Long live the fish. Long live the former welterweight champion and looking to be now new 154-pound champion. He has returned to the ring in fashion to come against one of the more dominant punchers, though he's degraded in talent, to get his claim at a new territory in the world of 154, where he said he will move up to over 3 years ago. And as you can see right here, Cutter, we now got the official announcement. Spence Sue happening in the summer this year. Ain't it great? Ain't it grand? Thank gosh, the man is back, and we are so excited to see it. And again, we're going to touch on more on it later on in the show with your reactions, with my thoughts, and with everything involving the world of this entire essentially dichotomy of boxing when it comes to Spence and the effect of the greater landscape of 154 as a whole. We will discuss that later on. But real quick, I want to make sure I do play the clips appropriate for this current segment when talking about Shakur Stevenson and Mauricio Sulaiman and the reactions to what Sulaiman had to say in regards to him stripping Shakur Stevenson. I'll let the clip play right here for you all to witness and enjoy, so you can see exactly what he had to say, and I'll let you get some thoughts for yourself on your opinions on everything Sulaiman had to say. But here's a clip of Shakur Stevenson being stripped. This is president of the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman, his reaction to it all and why he did it.
That the WBC's involvement, however, nominal, is worth $120,000?
It's worth $1 million or $1. It is not about the money.
It's a big difference. Well, it's about the money to him. It's about the money to Shakur.
Well, he chose not to continue as WBC champion, and it was his decision. It is not about the money.
Logically, is anybody happy fighting for interim titles?
All of them. Otherwise, they would not fight for the interim.
Because
title.
they think it's a step to the next one. They think they're getting ordered to fight for a full title.
Why does it have to be on your times? I don't tell you how to do your job. My job is to be the president of the WBC, which involves many, many, many things that you cannot imagine.
I was actually, to be fair, Mauricio, I was on your side. I was on your side.
Being the champion, moving up in weight, and being a champion gives a element of positive and value.
I think Shakur Stevenson was number 1 at 135. Teofimo Lopez was number 1 at 140. That's all that mattered. I don't think anybody gave a damn about.
That's all that matters for you.
It's Lord, and now see, now I thought this clip didn't have any music, and I hope that was copyright-free music. Lord knows that subtle music in the background. YouTube picks that up. Oh Lord, oh no, oh my. Oh my, no, don't clap for that, Lord. We can be in some hot water. I didn't know that clip had music behind it. But I think we should be okay. But it just hey, look, this is why some of those super chats and PayPal cash out might be a little bit important right now. I might get docked. I don't know. Oh Lord, I'm being funny somewhat, cause we gonna see. But regardless of what, you saw the clip, you saw the words, you saw the, I can't even say dodging, just the blatant disrespect towards the very nature of what the belts are supposed to mean and the business of this sport and why it is going down. You have to understand. Sulaiman was saying that, don't you think that the belts matter? Don't you think that being a champion, when you take a step up, don't you think that matters? And Chris Mannix said no. You know why he didn't say no? Because when somebody was a champ or interim title, it was supposed to be a step up to get success and a step up to be something, or essentially a guaranteed shot at getting a world championship. The big thing that mattered, the interim was supposed to be, that's your golden ticket. That is your key to unlock the door. That is the guaranteed stable, or rather the guaranteed, essentially, ribbon that you have at your disposal, that when you cut it, you are going to get a title shot. You ring this bell that you can pull down on, you get a world championship opportunity. And every time we saw somebody get an interim belt, we would then see nothing happen. So it didn't mean anything. It didn't. Why do you think we stopped caring about who was the interim champ? And we would say it could build up to, we can get a fight for the world title. You have the opportunity to get to a world championship. You had the chance now to be in position that I can get belts around my waist that are the world championship belts, the world acclaim, not the super, as it's called with the title. That can be mine. But it's not a guaranteed shot because you've taken the weight out of your very gold. Think of it this way. The U.S. economy used to be on a gold system where essentially the dollar amount of the U.S. was mitigated or rather valued based on the foundational value of the gold that the U.S. was able to incur. With the gold rush and all the stuff that was found, again, helped out immensely. With all that, that's when the value came, and that's when the dollar got the amount of the dollar that we see now. It stuck. It was concrete. It had a weight behind it. However, now currently with the dollar, and again, a little bit of financial stuff, little bit of financial literacy for how stuff works over here in the States. But just to draw an example, now we're not on the gold standard when it comes to value and revenue. We are on a more fluid standard where the one thing that dictates the value of the US dollar is in fact our word. That's it. To put it simply, there's no tangible thing that helps set the value of the dollar for the U.S. except for just we say this is what the dollar is worth, hence that's what it's worth. If any time that veil of facade falls through or that word is bond mentality that we got right now, if at any point in time that falters, which is already faltering right now, if you've been looking at how this country's been going to pot, those in and outside the U.S., if you've seen it, you see how destabilized my country is. You see what's going on. If this falls to the point that our word cannot be taken as bond, the dollar falls to the gutter. Because there's no value except for our word. And your word right now, for us, has no value at all to the world. Understandably so. That we suck right now. We suck right now. In terms of the United States. And I love our country. We suck. I love it. That's why I can say it. Because if I love it, I need to get better. And we suck. Horrible on all accounts. But that is what's going on with Suleiman, the WBC, and other belts in the whole, but specifically with the WBC. The only thing that the interim title was worth was your word. There was no weight because you never moved in a way that the weight made sense. Again, we kept on bringing up Benavidez as an example. That's the most egregious example of this entire dichotomy of why interim belts and the championship belts don't matter. You can't demand what you want to demand when you're asking for stuff when you ain't even got no weight behind your own words as to how you respond and react. And you're demanding, we're worth $100 million or $1. That's a big difference. You know why it's a big difference? Because there's no stability behind the WBC right now. He can say you got so many responsibilities that you got to garner as president. Well, one of them is making sure that people get the belts that they deserve. And two, you don't go and overstep your reach. President isn't just about doing stuff. It's about not doing stuff. Being president isn't just about you doing things. It's also about you not doing things. Not messing up. Not overstepping your boundaries. Making sure that you make sure the do's and don'ts. You make sure that there's some things you just don't do, but you keep doing them. You have lost the cachet of the greatest fighter you've lost the respect of the greatest fighter of this generation, as well as the current top 5 most rising star in Shakur Stevenson. That is, at this point in time, he's eclipsed the superstar. You have gone through and taken that respect, and he's put yourself in the gutter as well. And once one or two prominent people start making a dichotomy or start making a decision about something, guess what? Most other people fall in line. Sure, you got Ryan Garcia loving the WBC, Why? Because that's the only commission that would give him a title shot after his Austrian situation. That's the only reason why he's saying I love the WBC. If it wasn't me, if he had no issues at all, outside or inside the ring, I guarantee you would be saying the same stuff. Because he's been so outspoken about corruption before on social media. A couple of things that he said we were saying was crazy. Turns out it was actually true. With all those Epstein files that were currently released. Oh my gosh. But he's been so outspoken about that. If he had no issues, he would be saying the same stuff that Crawford's saying, that Shakur is saying. To a degree, you can argue he's grifting to be able to ensure I get this shot. But once he's done, I guarantee you'll be like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. But I got my belt. That's all I wanted. This is a problem because the WBC keeps on with this star that Shakur Stevenson is, trying to make Shakur out to be the victim. Or rather, trying to make Shakur out to be the assailant to this entire conversation. Shakur's the problem. I don't know why people are trying to devalue it. People that go against us, you don't know exactly what's going on. You can't understand the machinations of my mind. It's an enigma what it is to deal with this boxing venture. No, it's not. There's a difference in not understanding all the intricate ins and outs and you just completely doing wrong on the most basic stuff. It doesn't take somebody that's been in business for 30 years or has had something close to your position in the reference to the boxing world to tell you that you are not doing a good job right now with the way that you are going about making this belt worth anything, valued. Let alone stealing money out of the pockets of fighters that it does not even belong to you. And if this was a practice that has been done over the course of years, that this is protocol in the laws, if you're a WBC champion, well, then that's wrong too. I say that based on the other reports of what the etiquette or the rules surrounding what happens that you got to pay when you're WBC champion or not. Take it with a grain of salt. Look it up for yourself. But if that is true, that was wrong as well. It was if it was always been the case, it was wrong then and it's wrong now. If it's just happening right now, guess what? It's wrong now. Because you are trying to curtail a level of power that you just should not be able to extend to the point that you can say you don't deserve to be a champion because you ain't paying us fees for something that you didn't even fight for. I already paid you fees to when I beat the belt or when I got the belt in the division that I got the belt. Why in the world am I trying to pay something for something that I ain't even fight for? That's what I'm paying for food that I didn't even eat. Let alone I didn't even order it in the first. It wasn't even on the menu. But I'm getting charged with. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That is greed. More than greed, that is just that's corruption. Straight on. And if Suleiman doesn't like getting called out, well, he gonna hate a whole lot more when it's not just me or Chris Mannix saying anything. He gonna hate it a whole lot more when Errol Spence said something if he gets the chance. He's going to hate it a whole lot more if Boots Ennis says something if he gets the chance. He's going to hate it a whole lot more if we see Canelo Alvarez say something. Let alone, don't let the cash cow come through and all of a sudden he's been in your good gracious and now he is turning his back on you. He's going to say something. Usyk may say something. You think this is just a problem for the few that's trying to make some, it's a problem for a lot of people. And there's a bunch of people around the world of boxing that see this. And once one starts stepping up, many others start stepping up. It's gonna be an issue, man. It's taking a hit. What should be one of the most prestigious belts in all of the boxing globe, when what should be one of the most respected titles that we have in boxing right now in the WBC, with Ali, Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and I think Sugar Ray Robinson or Marvin Hagler's face on the front of it, depending on what division that belt's being a part of. All those names, all that legacy, all those wins, that greatness, that history, the moments in time, the absolute pinnacle of not just stardom, but reverence and respect that is attached to that big green belt. The synonymous nature with history that belt should bring is being wiped away right before our eyes without it. And it ain't even taking a big thing. It's simply the fact that you are just doing the one thing you ain't supposed to be doing, which is you are not operating like you're not operating the course of business like a functional business. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That's what you are, shooting yourself in the foot. Simple as that. You are disgracing your own legacy. Not because the fighters are going above and beyond to go and besmirch you. Because you yourself are giving them saying, hey, yeah, you ain't got no reason to want to be a part of me. And you got the arrogance to walk out and say, yeah, I'm that. Or rather, you had the arrogance to walk around and say, yeah, I'm worth all that in the bag of chips. No, you ain't. No, you are not. I can promise you, you ain't. And don't let it get to a point that all of a sudden we don't see WBC we should take it seriously as a championship. Don't let that happen. Lord knows you're going to be hot real quick. You're going to be hot real quick. And look, they brought this on themselves. That's the biggest thing. They brought this on themselves. And it's nobody's fault but Suleiman. Nobody's fault but Suleiman that we got in this situation. Yeah, what a clown. Yeah, at this point in time, yeah. What a clown. What a clown, because you just won't seem to quit when it comes to you just completely wetting the bed as a promoter. I mean, it's not as a promoter, as a president. Nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody should want to deal with it. I would hope that people start speaking out more, because I don't want to see this. If we want to see some change, it needs to go and have everybody on the same page. We ain't got to mess with them, and we good. That's what should happen. That's what should happen in my estimation. For me, that's what should happen. But again, I digress. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that's just my thoughts and opinions on it all. That WBC and the belts are just the opening the door for Zuffa to make it viable. And I don't even know if Zuffa's going to work, but I'm telling you this right now. If this is how they move it, they'll take a chance on Dana White. They will. They will take a chance on Dana White in a heartbeat, absolutely. But even still, we got more to cover on this show. We want to make sure we can still hear from you in regards to everything involved in the world of boxing and beyond. Still, please leave a like on the stream. If you haven't already, go ahead and keep on subscribing to the channel. We still got more to cover in the world of sports and the world of boxing. I do want to make sure that we delve into real quick, I believe. Wait, hold on. Okay, boom, I thought I thought I read something. Anthony Yarde was getting ready to retire. So I got scared. I got scared real quick. Also, real quick, we got now confirmed evidence in the world of the heavyweight rankings. We told you all to be on the lookout for Dubois and his next opponent. And it might be that Dubois is going to fight against Fabio Wardley. Yes, indeed. As we can see right now, per the words of, I think, Mike Coppinger, Fabio Wardley is finalizing terms for his first WBO championship world heavyweight defense, going up against Dynamite Daniel Dubois, Triple D, on set, getting ready to get his another championship opportunity to reign as world champion. Can you believe it? And I tell you, this is the second or third time we've seen Dubois as a champion. And it is very intriguing what we can see from two of the heaviest punchers in the world of the heavyweight division, with both of them having very vaunted and storied careers, with Fabio Wardley starting late to go on and eventually come from behind victories left, right, and center to knock out, though I thought it was an early stop, but still to get the stoppage on Joseph Parker to become world champion, beating also Justice Huni in the process, now going up against another fighter who's been at the top of the mountain twice, going up against Usyk, getting knocked out twice, understandable, by the excellence in execution that is Alexander. However, now going up against Fabio Wardley, it's going to be tank on tank, pressure fighter on pressure fighter, power on power, and complete and utter dominance, going up against complete and utter dominance from the standpoint of destructive nature. This is very interesting because Daniel Dubois, as a, I guess you want to say as a perceived brawler, may be seen as better. But there is some level of intrigue because Fabio Wardley, though he can get gassed out quick, though he can get gassed out because he punches himself out at times, though he will in fact be in positions to where you can see him lose on the scorecards nearly the entirety of the round. It is that second and third gust of wind that we've seen Fabio Wardley have every single time out. And that kind of moniker of you just won't quit going up against him. That can be a very bad deal when going up against, or when going up against Fabio Wardley, if you are Daniel Dubois. Because one thing about Daniel Dubois, as much as we've seen him retool and regroup and become something different amongst this comeback tour of him trying to get his position back as champion, we've seen him work to rise back up. We have. Though again, it's Usyk and he got knocked out. But again, it's Usyk, so you can't fault him because it's Usyk. But if he's able to still keep that same competitive, not just fervor, but that same second and third gust of wind going up against Daniel Dubois, if you're Fabio Wardley, brother, we can see Fabio Wardley knock out Daniel Dubois. I'm so serious. I am so serious. I'm so serious. And most likely, you'll see Dubois potentially fight like we saw him fight Anthony Joshua. Because there's not a whole bunch of technical ability behind Fabio Wardley. There's not a whole lot of real latent, tricks of the trade that we're watching going up against Wardley from the perspective of he's going to show you so many new things. He may try something new, but he's going to rely on his chin. He'll get backed up to the ropes. He will be able to throw. Fabio Wardley will have the opportunities to get hit a whole bunch. And going up against the dynamite stick himself, that is Daniel Dubois. Hey, if the one thing we can say about Daniel Dubois, if you're a mover, you may struggle. But if you're just sitting in front of him, my gosh, yeah, he can do some real damage. As much as he can get hit himself, he is one of the most scary, powerful, straight up dominant fighters that we got. You saw what he did to Anthony Joshua. You can say Anthony Joshua is not the same fighter that he once was. Absolutely. You can even say that Anthony Joshua has a worse chin. He does. Than Fabio Wardley. No question. But what you can't say is that Anthony Joshua isn't a better fighter. You can't say that. And we saw AJ get walked down, stalked down. That's the closest thing we saw to Mike Tyson. But from the standpoint of the semblance of stylistic nature of I'm just coming in, high guard up, and I'm hooking the kingdom come, just whatever. And I say Mike Tyson only because Dubois was wearing all black. So just as a visual look, that was about it. But from the standpoint of just aggression, power, and you're just hurting and swinging, and you just hurting and swinging, don't matter where. That is what we saw Dubois do against a standing target that was not moving his head and that was trying to be too offensive. That is legit the style of Fabio Wardley. That's legit. Now, it's also a mirror image because that's legit the same style of Daniel Dubois. And Fabio don't be using that jab all that much. It's more so hooks and big shots and big punches all around. That's what be happening. So I'm like, My goodness. I'm telling you right now. Expect fireworks from that fight, and also expect to potentially see if we get Fabio Wardley beating Daniel Dubois. Expect to see finally Fabio Wardley versus Usyk in a fight we've been waiting to see for a number of, or at least for just about a year. Since the whole rumors of Usyk fighting Wilder came to the scene, everybody was hot and upset and stressed out because we didn't want to see that. I know, Lord knows I didn't want to see that. From the standpoint of immediate competitive nature against somebody who did not deserve the opportunity. This is what we're seeing now, Wilder versus Derek Chisora. That's the better fight that we should see happening because that's the fight that is legitimately worthwhile discussing as well as witnessing from the standpoint of a real 50, you can maybe 60-40 at this point when it comes to looking at Deontay Wilder, but a closer range of skill set, talent, and deserving nature. That's what I'm down for that. Thank gosh that's happening instead of this fight with Wilder. But if it was Wilder against Usyk, that was horrible because it was avoiding Wilder versus Ward. And I'm telling you this: if Usyk does say he's going to become champion again, I think it's going to go through Fabio Wardley because I'll make an early prediction right now. I think Wardley's going to win this fight. I do. I think Wardley's going to win this. I do think Wardley's going to win this, man. The brother who started fighting at about the same age as Jake Paul with the literally same amount of years of experience, who has well and good vaunted his way into a deserved world championship title and had seemingly embraced the brawling standpoint of I am the successor to essentially the juggernaut Joe Joyce. I'm just faster, and I'm just keep on eating shots up until something goes down. So because I know I ain't gonna be here for a long time, guess what? I'm gonna make the most of it. I guarantee you, going up against Daniel Dubois, who is susceptible to power, who is susceptible to getting caught, especially because he is indeed a standing target himself, who is indeed somebody who will go forth and potentially decimate his opposition into the Fabio Wardley in the vein of Daniel Dubois, strictly due to the fact that Daniel Dubois will be willing to go to war. And the one thing about Fabio Wardley, what is in his name, you can beat him in a lot of things, but boy, it's hard to beat him in a war. It's hard to do that. And it's difficult to do that. And Wardley can get those second wins that Dubois may not be able to. I think we're going to see Dubois take it. I really do. I think we're going to see, if this fight doesn't it's getting finalized. So if it happens, boy, over in the UK, that's going to sell out. And man, I think we're going to see Dubois lose. I do. If we see Dubois knock him out, well, it speaks to the talent of Daniel Dubois from the standpoint of, okay, yeah, there are still levels to this. But boy, if we do see Wardley make it out, next up is Usyk, and I can't wait for that fight. Let me see. Boxing Pro, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. So happy that you're here with us live on our show. We appreciate your time and your effort and your energy. No question about it. Let me see. Zerto, Benavidez, why not Benavidez, Beterbiev, and Bivol? Well, it's because they signed already. Zerto versus David Benavidez already signed and done, as in the date's already done in May. Bivol and Benavidez, what's supposed to happen next? But Bivol, after taking the rematch with Artem Beterbiev and winning the belts, decided to, instead of going and fighting Benavidez, he would relinquish the IBF, which was the mandatory belt that Benavidez was going to fight for, and then go and fight Artem Beterbiev in a trilogy on a Ring Magazine card. But he got injured, had to get back surgery, and he's been recovering from back surgery ever since. At the same breath, Artem Beterbiev was going to fight Nicholson on the same card as Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. that fight could have, in theory, been next, where Artur Beterbiev versus Benavidez took place, because knowing Benavidez, he wants to take challenges. So, if they both had won on the same night, potentially it could have been, okay, I'm going to stay at 175. I'm going to defend my belt against you, and then I'm going to go, because I beat you, I'm going to get your shot as well as my shot at getting the fight with Bivol. That's what could have happened. But again, the fight didn't happen, and Nicholson had to pull out, and the fight got cut from the card. So he decided, I'm not going to wait around for Bivol. I want undisputed, and I'm not getting it. I want an actual belt, and I'm not getting it, so I'm moving up to cruiserweight. Zerto and him talk behind the scenes, and immediately they got a deal done. Next thing you know, it's announced they're fighting in May for the titles. All of them, or unified, the majority of them. That's why he's going up against Zerto and not 175 with Bivol and Beterbiev. That's why. He wants it, but he's been saying this whole time, I'm not waiting around for a legacy. I'm going to make my own legacy, straight up. And that's what he's doing. So that's why we see it. Now, he has also said he will move back down to 175 to fight either one of them. After the fight was over, he said he can move down. So he can still make it happen. It's just in the immediate, he's not going to wait for them to get healthy. Or he's not going to wait for his shot to come final. He's just going to go and take it. He's just going to go and take it, absolutely. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Let me see. Let's go after Apatai and unification. That's most likely the sentiment. If we see Apatai, or if we see Zerto lose and Benavidez get the belt, well, now we will get, most likely, Benavidez versus Jai Apatai for the undisputed light heavyweight for the undisputed cruiserweight championship of the world. That's what we will most likely get as option A. Option B, he will go and he will fight Bivol for the undisputed titles. If the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol doesn't ever happen, and he can use his weight to say, I'm getting my shot at light heavyweight that I should have gotten to get the undisputed titles here as well. There's also a third option that we discussed. He could fight Zerto. He could fight Apatai. And then afterwards, he moves straight up to heavyweight. Forget Bivol. Forget Beterbiev. I'm going straight up to heavyweight, and we compete for the world for the world heavyweight title at some point, somehow. And because he would then be considered undisputed at cruiserweight, he would have some leeway to ask and demand for these opportunities. Throw his weight around. And if he does that, we're looking at some serious, we're looking at something serious from the perspective of this man would have done something incredible. Absolutely. Blink, you're reading, what you all got to say. Apataya style, very strong for Benavidez. Difficult, I think. No, it is. It is. Absolutely it is. Now, we've seen him. We know the power. We've seen the punching ability. We've seen the damage that we know Apataya can do. He's a very slicing puncher, the scythe, as you can almost call him, because his punches are so sharp. He's been developing more and more as a boxer as time has gone on, and he is truly, from a talent perspective, he thinks and moves differently than most others in the division. I love him. He legit is great. He's gotten the respect of Roy Jones Jr. and Lennox Lewis on the same night to his face. Both of them. Remember the Terrence Crawford Canelo card? When they brought on Jai Apatai as a special guest, he was sitting right in the middle of Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones Jr. And buddy, the way he was talking, had Lennox and Roy about to say, "Hey man, you got me wanting to get back in the ring, buddy. You got the mindset that we had. I like this cat. I like Roy was looking at Lennox was looking at Roy, and they were like, yeah, hey, yo, boy, this brother right here, yo, he's something different. Yeah, no, you right. Yeah, like the way he's thinking, the way he talking, this type of no nonsense, unrelenting nature, he got something special. You right, brother. He got something special. This he might be one of my favorite fighters, man, because he can go. You better believe he can go. He can be something great. I guarantee you. They were talking like that to each other in front of him. He's got a different poise of destructive. It's not just destructive nature. It is a driving force of unrelenting ferocity. It's the way he speaks, the way he maneuvers around his training, the way that he essentially encapsulates this sport has him so visibly concerning. Or, excuse me, it has him as a huge visible concern from everybody on every scale, at every facet of his game. Doesn't mean that he can't improve. There are some things he can get better on, sure. But in the whole, yeah, this cat's something serious. He's only getting better. And him fighting against Benavidez would be an absolute dog fight. Incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous for the likes of Benavidez. But that's why if he does pull it off, we're looking at of this next era, this next generation. Because again, the Benavidez, he still is in his prime, right in the middle of it. We talk about the people that are going to lead this sport once Canelo, Usyk, Fury are gone. He's one of them. He's one of them. He does that. Already right now, he's one of them. He does that. He's leading the pack straight up. He does that. He's leading the pack straight up. He's a different dog, man. He is a different dog. No question about it. But real quick, we also want to make sure that we cover everything else in the sports world. So we're going to look into the world of, we're going to switch gears just so we don't waste any time into the world of the championship rounds. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going and we're working. We're sliding and vibing all throughout our Tuesday afternoon, covering the world of boxing and beyond. And now we're in the championship rounds. That means that movies, sports, television, video games, NBA, NFL, boxing, of the like of any topic we can discuss with you all on today. If you didn't know, we've talked about a plethora of things. Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois having their fight coming up this year, almost validated. Virgil Ortiz and Boots, they're getting ready to have their fight signed. Potentially within the week, per multiple reports. Also, we have Shakur Stevenson questioned stardom when it comes to how big of a star is he, him with the WBC and that whole debacle. The WBC shooting themselves in the foot, doubling down on why they deserve money that they didn't even fight for, which is ridiculous, as well as the leading off this whole show. Errol, Spence, and Tim Tszyu has been officially announced for this year in a comeback fight, and the deal is done. The big fish is back. Oh, yes, indeed. And the boxing world seems to be all excited and elated for it. All of those topics and more we can discuss in free form now for you all to have, or anything else you all want to discuss in the world of boxing, because again, it is the championship rounds. You control the show. You control the conversation for the next 30 minutes to an hour, or however long you all ask questions. We're here to aim to please and give your thoughts and sentiments on everything, and have your voice be seen and heard for the masses to witness and enjoy, no question about it. But while we're here, hey, if you would, leave a like on the stream. Go ahead. Hey, get this show out to the algorithms all across the globe. Leaving a like, it only takes one click, and it means a world of difference to help get more people involved with this show, to know that we got the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Also, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Be a part of this monolith, of this mogul. Come be a soldier in this absolute moving fortress of a community. We can't do this without you, and we want you to be along for the ride on anything that we do, and we appreciate your support oh so much. And finally, please, if you would like to support the channel, shameless plug, we got Cash App and PayPal, links down below in the description. I gotta pay some bills somehow, and so the way to do it is through you, the people. Yes, indeed, supporting this channel, and also super chats, super gifts and stickers, all that stuff. If you have the means to give, it will mean the world to me, and helps us to invest back into the show, to make it bigger, better, and getting stronger off of your viewing and listening pleasure. But let's jump right into the world of the championship rounds. Let's go. Let's get it started. Come on. Let's see what you got. Let's have the voices and let's have the debates and conversations. Let's see what y'all got to say on today. Benavidez is Cyborg. Spence, I'm happy. Spence back. I'm happy. Everybody's happy about Spence. And it does me good to see that unlike what we've seen with other sports communities and other boxers in this fickle fandom that we've had, people did not leave Spence after Crawford. It does me really good to see that the public still was incredibly excited to have Errol Spence come back, when normally if you get beat like Spence got beat, you would just get dropped like a bad habit and nobody would want to care about you anymore. No, this has been I've said it, that people still love Spence. I've witnessed people still saying that they like Spence. When it came from push come to shove, when he actually did come back, I was concerned that we would see Spence not be able to have the same love and admiration because the public wouldn't potentially turn on him. Genuine. And yet everybody's just excited. Everybody is just so excited to see one of the best that we've seen in the welterweight history of this era, of the past era, come through. Well, no, it's technically still this era, but come through and still be beloved. I was scared it wasn't going to happen. And it did. And it's great. I love it. I'm so excited for it. Let me see. Boots and Ortiz, what a fight. I think Boots in points. A lot of look, you ain't lying. You ain't lying now. When it comes to Boots and Ortiz as the fight may unfold, having Boots winning on points is not a bad thing to say. Not at all. Even more importantly, having Boots by knockout is not something that is fully out of the question if you have Boots and it's winning. This is even understanding the ability, the power, the destructive force, and the early and late stopping ability. That is Virgil Ortiz. Again, you saw what he did to Erickson Lubin. Erickson Lubin ain't no joke, and he stopped him in 2 rounds. Now, Boots most likely ain't going to be standing in front of him, just waiting to get hit, like we saw with Erickson Lubin, just trying to high guard and defend everything. But we do know that same stopping power can still come and meet Boots' chin head on. And if that does happen, it can get dangerous. But what I do also know is that Boots has shown, even though the skill set may not be, or even though the talent may not be up to the same par as Virgil Ortiz, he's shown that his ability can get up there. And unlike what we've said with other people, that it might not translate because, you haven't faced somebody like that before. I said the same thing against Shakur when I said that he has to face somebody like Teofimo Lopez. And Teo may be the thing to go and stop that torrential force when it comes to Boots Ennis. Or when it came to Shakur Stevenson. Stop that indomitable, impenetrable ability. Strictly because of the pedigree that we have seen in Virgil Ortiz. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not always applicable. But there are some people that even without the experience factor, they can still get it done amongst the best in land. And I'm telling you right now, Boots is one of those people. Even without the experience that we've had when looking at this fight, even without the experience that we've had when looking at Boots compared to Virgil, from the skill sets, from the opponents faced off against each other, from the championship level pedigree that we've seen each of them have on display on a as consistent basis, it's not the same. But it doesn't mean that it's too much for one to overcome. Just like with Shakur. And I'm telling you right now, I do think that Boots, at this point in time, is at that same criteria with Shakur. From the standpoint of, you may perceive him as not being as experienced or he ain't dealt with this type of talent. And I'm telling you right now, he's got more than enough skill to show you more than that he belongs in this talent. He's above this talent that you think that he is. I'm serious. He's got more than enough skill to show you he's above the perceived talent that you think he is at right now. He's that much of a dogged weapon. He's that much of a dogged talent. He's that much of a dog-eat-dog type of fighter. He is such a Swiss Army knife with all of his blades sharpened. And he can use all those blades in a way that is just so spectacular. And he's not going up against somebody like Shakur Stevenson who will be able to shut down all that stuff. Virgil Ortiz meets fire with fire. He's got great technique in his own right. He's got great skill in his own right. He's got great guard manipulation. He'll pull down your guard. He will feign pulling down your guard and then land to the body like he did against Madrimov. He's got so many of these quality tools amongst him that can make him such a viable weapon, but it does not mean it's guaranteed victory. Because when it comes to Boots, we're looking at a what's the right way to describe it? We're looking at a difference in not just ability, but in execution, with a mind that up until this point, people think he's just been fighting underclass people, though he hasn't. But they think that he's not smarter than people may see him as. He is simply fighting below the skill set that he should be. Some, not all, but some people think that. My opinion, he's been able to do all this stuff because he truly does understand the sport, as well as his ability and skill set is above what people may think of it. And his mind is the same thing as well. It's not that he hasn't been tested. It's the fact that he is so far above people that he just isn't getting tested by the public because nobody is at that level. And it could be a surprise to people that Boots might be doing the same thing to Virgil Ortiz. I am not saying it is guaranteed. I am simply saying it is a possibility. And if it is, boy, that's going to be interesting to see. No question about it. Boots has a technique to win. Yes, he does. He's got a great jab. Every punch stings. He's got great speed. He can do what we used to teach a lot of people when it comes to boxing, varying the jab. Larry Holmes will say it as well. Not throwing out the jab at the same speed every time. He can do a flicking out jab. He can do a power jab. He can do a distance keeping jab. I think Showbiz the Adult talked about Devin Haney's jab versus Shakur's jab. Devin Haney's jab will keep you at bay. More so, he'll keep you there. If he hits you, you're going to stay exactly where he hits you. It's a stronger jab than you may realize. Shakur's jab, it's a stinging jab. It comes out quick. It stings you. It hurts you. Well, it can hurt you, but more so, it's like a flash. It's coming out and boom. It's coming out, boom. That's how it's like. Boom. And so it's two different styles of jab. Gennady Golovkin, his jab was a ramrod. His jab, he'll be punching through. His opponent every single time, punching through. You saw the weight behind it. You saw the power that came with it. You saw the legitimate kind of busting through force of like he was punching through wood. That's what you saw. That's what you felt. Lennox Lewis, not a similar thing. Though again, he was a heavyweight, great, sharp jab. But the varying styles of jab are something that is incredibly intuitive. And when it comes to Boots, he can do that. He can throw a hard jab. He can throw a stinging jab. He can throw a power jab. He can throw a distance jab. He can throw a counter jab. All just that one weapon, he's got the ability to land 4 or 5 different variations of that same punch. And knows when to throw them as well. Uppercuts, he can throw a straight up power uppercut or a counter uppercut. He can beat you when you try to duck down. He knows where to hit you if you try to lean side to side. He can predict and react. He's got so many different intangibles of instincts as well as the foundational stuff that we've seen over the years get more and more advanced. It's a beautiful thing. Boots is a real killer of a boxer. Truly. He's something special. He truly is something special. And he's something to behold. But let me see. Lewis, offense, great uppercut. is impressive. Yeah, no, it was. It was. And again, Lennox Lewis, one of the most well-rounded heavyweights. Some people argue he should be seen as the greatest heavyweight of all time. I think that's Muhammad Ali. Absolutely, but it doesn't mean that Lennox Lewis wasn't phenomenal. He was phenomenal. He's avenged every loss that he had. He got knocked out against Rockman, beat him, knocked him out afterwards. He beat Mike Tyson, though Mike Tyson again was old, well past his prime, nowhere close to the prime Mike Tyson. He was great. He was phenomenal. He was absolutely incredible. But the fact that I can take Lennox Lewis and I can take some of these other great fighters, both now and from the past, and apply that to Boots as what the makeup of his ability is, the makeup of his fighting posture is. The fact I can go through and look at this and look at him and say that there are some things that are able to be paralleled with him when it comes to these types of great attributes that other greats have done before speaks to the real level of excellence and true, and I do mean real, true skill that we see Boots bring on a night-to-night basis. Legitimately. It is not, and that's why this fight's so exciting, because we can potentially see this fight be the fight that will have not just a crowning moment, but kind of the same thing that we had with Shakur Stevenson, of that all-in wonder, or awe-in-wonder, where the gap between him and the rest of the world truly was felt, kind of like an earthquake. It's like when you're looking at when you're looking at the Grand Canyon from a horizon-like view, where like you're standing beside some of the gaps and you're looking out. But when you get an aerial view and you're looking from the top down, you truly get to see just how big the Grand Canyon is as a whole. That's what it's like with Shakur. That's what happened. That's what we had happen with Shakur after Tio, and that's what can happen with Boots. That same thing, that same shock of I did not realize you were such a dominant force in this vein. I did not know this is what you were. I could not perceive that this was how great you were compared to everybody else. And now that I see this, oh my goodness, what the world was I thinking? More importantly, how did we not see this early? The realization, the almost epiphany that comes amongst the boxing landscape. This fight right here can bring that exact same thing. It's got a similar height with Tio. It's got a similar skill set upon skill set that we've seen of both of them can do some of the same stuff at a high level. And I'm telling you right now, this fight can be the fight that brings that same type of awe and wonder and the spectacle. More than a spectacle, it can bring the shock of how wide the gap is in the same way from the skill sets of people. In the same way that we just saw with Tio and Shakur. It can do it. I promise you. It can do the exact same thing. This can do that exact same thing, I guarantee you. I promise you. Absolutely. Also, we got more people in the chat. We got more people in the chat, Like with Truth. I just want the truth. What's going on with it? How you doing? What's good with you? Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Like I said, we are doing the championship rounds right now. We got about 15 minutes left in this show. We've talked about so much stuff on today. We talked about Errol Spence Jr. We're coming back against Tim Sue. We've talked about Shakur Stevenson and Mauricio Suleiman. We talked about Shakur Stevenson as a star when it comes to the current landscape of boxing. We've talked about Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz having their contract signed potentially this week, as reported by Mike Compinger. And we've talked about an abundance of other things in response to the world of boxing and beyond. And it's been such a pleasure with you all. Did I just say Errol Spence returning? Oh yeah, Errol Spence returning. If you didn't know, Spence is back. So We got so much to cover, but we got 15 minutes left in the show. We want to hear from you in regards to everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. And we got so many things that we can still talk about, but it's up to you to bring those things up. We are letting you have full say in what we got on today for our show for the last 15 minutes. As we do every episode, we want to hear from you on anything involving the world of sports and beyond. And while you're getting your questions together, I do want to touch on something with Errol Spence real quick when it comes to the reaction to his returns against Tim Tszyu. This is, like I said before, this is a match that we wanted for a long time. From the standpoint of it made so much sense. But the one thing I'm concerned about is the lack of tune-up for Errol Spence Jr. Because though we've seen him be out of the ring for 3 years, though he's been in shape, and apparently those training videos weren't just because he was training, it was actually real, that okay, he was actually getting ready. I don't like still the fact that he's not taking any fight coming out to 154 to go and see just where his body is at. He doesn't need to be a great fighter. It can be a very low tier type of guy. It can be a fighter that some people would consider a bum from the perspective of a talent level like that. Like, no, he's just not good. But he is just a fodder to have you work your way back up. We can see that, or we could see that. I would like to see that. That's a better thing. I don't like that Spence is still doing what Spence normally does, which is Spence. We never lament Spence about trying to fight people, because Spence does not waste time. Spence does not duck smoke, and Spence does not go and waste time trying to get fights to happen. He will go in terms of waiting stuff out or trying to say, I need this type of prep work. I need that type of prep work. No, I need to fight. I'm going to fight. I want to fight, so we're going to fight. Plain and simple. We love that about Spence, but at the same breath, that's not what I think he needs right now. Because I can't speak on Spence like I want to. Because I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what it's going to be like. If I knew what Spence was going to be like, if I had a better idea, outside of the fight with Terrence Crawford and the last fight that he won, which was Ugas, with this 3-year hiatus, I would have better inclinations. I don't, because I just don't know what we're going to see. Because I don't know what he's going to be. I just do not know what he's going to be. And man, because I don't, it's going to be interesting to see how exactly, just straight up going into the proverbial deep end, which for Spence, Tszyu is a deep end type of fight, because this is a fight that has a real, I don't want to say concern, but there is a concern, because the threat of Tszyu with what we see, with what we know about Spence right now, is enough that, hey, you can get beat. This can potentially not be a homecoming, but be a straight up, okay, yeah, it's time to retire. You just don't have it anymore. Simply because of that long layup. So I just don't know. Really, truly, I just don't know. Truly, I just don't know. But I'm getting reading what you all have to say. Spence need a tune-up. No, he does. Spence does need a tune-up, absolutely. He does, in fact, need a tune-up. I would hope he takes one, but most likely he's not. Figueroa would cook Nakatani. With how he fought Nick Ball, which was incredibly impressive. Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. Anybody above 126 right now, I'm not confident in Nakatani beating him. I'm not even going to say that Nakatani should be able to fight at 126. I don't think he's ever going to make it up there. Truly, I don't. I think this is the limit at 122. Hernandez, incredible chin. Should that be an indictment on his skill set? I'm not sure, because he was doing all the right stuff. He wasn't cracking Hernandez. Hernandez, that he was that motor. It's one of those few people that it's like he'll give anybody in that division a hard time. But I would not bet on Nakatani to fight at 126 and be successful against Brandon Figueroa. Simply because that size difference may just be a legitimate thing. It may just be. But let me keep on reading with you all. I have to say, Spence has a fight before Sue. He won't. He won't. It's just this fight, nothing else. The only person that's got a tune-up is Tim Sue. The only person that has a tune-up is Tim Sue in this fight, not Errol Spence Jr. Let me see. Boxing Nerd, what's going on with it? How you doing? Good to see you. Hopefully, you're leaving a like on the video. Hopefully, you've already liked the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, not you, but anybody else who hasn't, hey, go ahead and subscribe and come be a part of this empire. Absolutely. Let me see what you got to say. Spence needs to pick off. Spence needs to pick up his feet. Can't afford to be flat-footed. Glad he's back. That jab body attack is deadly. Both statements are true. I'll say I don't think he's ever going to get out of how Spence normally. He's always been a flat-footed type of fighter. Now, a plotter is a better way to put it. Now, that's not always bad. We've seen great fighters be plotters before. That's not uncommon. What I'm saying is, as a plotter, it is a very important thing that defensively you're able to be sound and anticipatory. If you ain't gonna have great feet to move left and right, and your best attribute in moving your feet is to be able to track down your opponent, then you gotta be on it defensively. You do. Straight up, you do. Spence has always been able to walk down his opponents. Yes, that's his thing. Break you down. Bust you up. Make it to the point that you can't take my punishment and you just systematically get chopped up like a piece of wood up until you got to submit and broken faces, broken bones, fatigue taking over you. My punches still carry all the power. Your body now just can't take it, and now you're out of here. That's what we expect, or that's what we think can happen. That's what we perceive as for Spence. That's his game plan. Not even perceive. That is his game plan. That's what he does. That is Spence. I don't think he'll ever get out of there. I don't think he'll ever not be that for Spence. I don't think he'll ever have the fast feet or the great movement from the perspective of like a Shakur or like a Caleb Plant from the more fleet-footed nature. But if he can get back to the essence of what he was at 154, mind you, Terrence Crawford beating him does not mean that his style wasn't great or his ability wasn't great. He just faced off against somebody that was that much greater. But before Spence and Crawford, nobody outside of maybe one or two were able to keep up with the likes of Spence. Sean Porter, who's as tough as nails, came through and gave a phenomenal fight against him. But that's not common. That wasn't common. Most of the people, I'm putting you out with ease. With ease. And that wasn't because I all of a sudden adapted my style and became a mover. I'm just in my style. I'm that great. And he was that great. And he should have been that great. He deserved to be that great. He deserved to be that great. And when it comes to Spence versus Sue, if he can get close just back to that moniker, that identity, even if it's to the same degree that we saw Keith Thurman come back when he returned off of another similar 3-year hiatus and be able to be very close to, or closer than we all expected, to the best version of Thurman from what he had lost, that is a big step in the right direction to say, okay, he might be able to become a champion again. Maybe this fight with Charlo can actually happen. Maybe this fight with, dare I say Fundora, may actually take place that was supposed to happen initially. Maybe all of this can actually transpire. Maybe. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. But if it does take place, I hope and pray. I hope and pray that it happens. Because I've had my doubts for years. And I told y'all, I didn't think Spence was going to come back. I told y'all, I said that Spence is not coming back to boxing. I don't know. I questioned why people had faith that he would want to return, because at every single point in time, his responses, his body language, and everything about him seemed to show, I'm not coming back. I'm not going. There's no point. I'm just feeding the rumor mill, but I'm not actually committing to anything. That's what he had shown me from his responses and everything abounding when it came to the world of boxing. I got proven wrong, and I'm happy because I want this to work. I want this to happen. We can even talk about this situation with him and Terrence Crawford. If we see Spence come through and get this win and come through and get a championship opportunity later on down the line, all of a sudden we can actively see potentially the rematch at 154 between Spence and Terrence Crawford. Maybe we can see it. If we want something to pull Spence out of retirement, or we want something to pull Terrence Crawford out of retirement because he wants legacy and a fight that is gonna mean something. With everybody saying that Spence was washed, that Spence was not washed, but the car accident, even though the car accident was I think well over 2 years before that fight happened. The retina tear, which again had fully healed by that point in time that the Crawford fight happened, said that all that stuff was problematic from the instance that Spence was not the best version of Spence. It held Spence back from being able to do what he wanted to do more than just he just got beat straight up. That is exactly what, honestly, had Crawford saying, well, I'm not getting the respect I deserve because even when I do great things, people keep saying, oh, there's some sort of excuse. That's why I was feeling the way he was feeling. Exactly why I was feeling the way he was feeling, excuse me. But now, should really be a big problem. From the perspective that he gets this rematch at 154 like they said they wanted to happen. Everybody's all looking and saying, oh yeah, this is great. Oh, this is phenomenal. Now, it leaves no doubt. And the legacy of, yep, okay, that wasn't a fluke, finally gets answered. Hypothetically, that could be a situation. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Hypothetically, it's something that can't take place. Those are the ripple effects that this fight can have with Spence. Spence coming back at this division with Keith Thurman, Sebastian Fundora, Madrimov, Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, and now Errol Spence Jr. with Tim Tszyu. Don't forget Bochuk. Now Josh Kelly. That's what, 7 names? Bakram, who still is an entertaining threat, even though people are saying, okay, he's got some room to grow. He does. But you have a abundance of talent where anybody can lose at any given point in time. And the threat level of what can transpire is incredibly high. Incredibly high. Volatile is the word you're looking for. With, again, Charlo still in the mix. He can come back at some point. If Spence can come back, Charlo can definitely come back. Who knows if that's going to actually... We got Charlo calling out Spence. And Spence saying, yeah, he's calling me out for money. Crawford ain't there. Canelo gone. He calling me out because he wants some money. That's it. That's the only reason why. But now it's in the cards. All of that is in the cards. That we can see it finally happen. And man, I tell you, just the fact that Spence is here has everybody looking at this whole landscape completely differently. Completely. You want to talk about a box office division? There is not one division that can make more big time fights at all at the same time than this fight within this division at 154. Super welterweight is the only division that you can have this many type of high profile, insane fights at this point in time, all that are not just 50-50, but that are viable to be unknown from the perspective of we don't know who's going to win. That is incredible. That is phenomenal. I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. It's going to be so exciting, no question about it. But I'm about to say, is there anything else anybody wants to say in regards to the World of Championship rounds? We're going to wrap it up and we're going to start doing last calls to see what anybody else has to say. Last call. Last call for the last couple questions in this show before we go and end it and let you all go home and get ready for Thursday afternoon. Let me see what you all got to say. Boxing Nerd versus Tim Sue may not be bad, but against Boots Fundora, it may be problematic. No, it wouldn't. No, most likely it will be. Unless we see Spence get back to a form that we can say, okay, he is indeed close to what he was at 147, even here at 154, it can be problematic. The height against Fundora with that leveraging power, that can be problematic. Boots, of course, can be something that you better stay away from right now. Absolutely. However, the excitement comes from the prospect. We've already seen Thurman look like, okay, he might be able to do something more than just arrive and survive against Thurman because of what he did against Jarvis. We've seen Tim Sue get knocked out cold. We've seen him falter. We've seen him get beat up. We have seen, though he's a big threat, we've seen if Spence is who Spence is, as in if he's the best Spence that he can be, these types of names, if he can get back up to that elite level, they are able to be beaten by him. Because everybody at 154 was saying, yeah, if Spence moves up, he'd still be dominant. If it's the same Spence. Is it the same Spence? That's the biggest question. Though the problems may be bigger, the Spence that we knew could absolutely solve them. But now this Spence is not the same Spence. Potentially. So we don't know if it's as solvable of a problem as we've seen for the previous skill sets of Errol Spence Jr. If we hope and pray that they do indeed line up to where the skill set and the cachet are all back at 100%. We want him at his best. We want Spence. We're not counting Tim Sue out, but we want to see Spence at it. We do. We want to see Spence at his best. We want to see him at his best. I want to see him at his best. Because at his best, he can give Fundora trouble, if not beat him outright. At his best, I would love to see at his best Spence versus Boots. That would be fun. Virgil Ortiz versus Boots. That would be incredible of a fight. It's not as much the concern of there will be problematic matchups, at least in my opinion. It's more of the concern of, can he become a problem himself like he used to? As much as they have a lot of things that can give you trouble, can you get back to the same type of problem that you were for all of your other opponents? If you can do that, then it becomes a twofold street. They got to figure you out at the same rate that you got to figure them out. They can't, and that's the case. That can be great. That can be incredible. But it's a if. We don't know. We just don't know. And because we don't know, that's what makes it so concerning. That's what makes it so, but that's what makes it so fun. It's concerning, but it's fun. Concerning, but it's fun. It's fun to see, anticipate, witness, have real excitement for. Absolutely. And so it's just, it's so exciting, man. I'm sorry. When I say that this is incredible, it's incredible. I love the entire notion of this fight because it can be so good. It can be so good. And it's Spence is back, man. I'm sorry. Spence is back, and I love it. I truly do love it. But is there anything else anybody wants to say? Any other questions anybody wants to talk about before we wrap this show up? Absolutely. Starting at 12:30, ending at almost 3 o'clock. It's been a phenomenal time. It's been a phenomenal show. We love and appreciate all of you being here with us. Is there anything else anybody wants to say for the last call of this show? Questions, comments, concerns on the NBA, NFL. If you didn't know, the Patriots got destroyed in the Super Bowl over the course of this weekend on Sunday. For those of you who watch, hey, I'm celebrating. You know why? Because he finally lost. Great day. Should not have been that good that quick. Drake May got tied for the most sacks taken in the game with 7. Kenneth Walker won MVP, rushing for over 100 yards. I believe the defense was so stout, and it turned into a defensive battle. Next thing you know, third and fourth quarter, Seahawks opened up the floodgates. I mean, they just ran roughshod over the Patriots. There was no answer. Over 14 plus, I think it was actually over like 21 total pressure that they had on the game on a down by down basis. It was ridiculous. A pick six that got taken back to the house, a fumble recovery as well. It was they couldn't do a thing. They couldn't do a thing. The two picks, 1 pick six, a fourth fumble. It was 4 and outs consistently. Punts were the only thing that the Patriots could do, except for a late game TD and a couple of field goals. They just ran roughshod. One of the best defenses that we've seen of this current couple of years in the NFL. The best thing that we've seen from defense since the Denver Broncos when they won the championship in 2015, and since the Legion of Boom when they had Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Brian Irvin, or Bruce Irvin, excuse me, Bobby Wagner, and that essentially another 8 Pro Bowl to almost 10 Pro Bowl lineup that they had on their roster from the standpoint of quality talent at every single level. It was insane. It was ridiculous. And it was indeed one of the most dominant defensive performances we have ever seen in NFL history in the Super Bowl. And we got to give props up to them. I said they were going to win. I picked them to win. And Lord knows, I was right. Hey, can you believe it? I was right. Another prediction in the books for the world. Another watch report right here on our show. But hey, look, it was fun. We're going to see what happens next season. We're going to see exactly. And also, real quick, Sam Darnold, hey, you played for Carolina. You played for us. Happy for you. Happy for you. You got it done. You know what? When you look like you weren't able to do nothing, when you look like you couldn't do nothing against the Jets, management failed you against Carolina. Now here, you got something that you did it. You did it. And I may not like it. It's not with us. But I can appreciate that you got it done. And you proved a lot of people wrong about what type of quarterback you could be in this league. And it's like, you know what? Credit to him. Props to him. Props to him nonetheless. But if nobody else has anything that they want to say on the day, I think we're about to wrap this show up, send it home, and get on out of here. And so without all that being said, thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show. And this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, John Welch. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to our show on today's been phenomenal Tuesday afternoon. We thank you all for tuning in and being a part of this incredible environment of a show. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. Keep on telling everybody about this show. We have so much fun. We have such good conversation. You all help do such good debate, and we want to hear from you and the masses around the globe when it comes to the boxing world and beyond. No question about it. Also, be sure, if you can, if you would like to support the channel, give to, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats and super gifts and all that stuff. If you can support the show, it would mean the world to me. Helps me to pay the bills and helps me to go through and invest back into the show to make it bigger, better, and stronger, and more entertaining, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. And we appreciate all of your support nonetheless. Thank you all for you who tuned into the channel. Y'all were wonderful. Y'all were beautiful. Thank you all for helping make this show so spectacular. And also, we gotta make sure we do the top 5 chatters for this show. Number 5 in the chat for the pound for pound top chatters on this stream. Number 5 was Lord Freezer. Number 4 was I Just Want the Truth. Number 3 was Boxing Nerd. Number 2 was Armin Roder. Number 1 was Boxing Pro. I think for the second week in a row, taking the top spot as the top show or top chatter on our stream. So congratulations to you. Can you keep it up? Was it Thursday? We're gonna find out absolutely coming in on the show. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening on our stream. Teddy Berkshot, Ryan Graves, thank you all for also tuning in. Though you're late in the game, but you're still here. The fact that you're here is enough for us. Absolutely. Let me see. Not a good idea to come back against him. He has surprise. He has surprise in the power department. Inactivity of Spence. Not an idea I'd be entertaining. Well, look, we can talk about it more on Thursday. We're about to wrap the show up and send it home. So, again, you can rewatch the show. Absolutely. And be here on Thursday. We're going to have more stuff to talk about with Spence, as well as potentially if this stuff with Virgil Ortiz breaks, we're going to finally have a full-blown announcement of Virgil Ortiz come on Thursday or potentially Friday afternoon. Absolutely. No way I missed the stream. Hey, look, it's all good. It's all good. The fact that you just tried to be here means the world to me. That's all that matters, and I appreciate you the effort nonetheless. And you can rewatch the show right after this ends. Hey, go ahead. But since you're here, go ahead and leave a like. Keep on chatting. Keep on commenting. And hey, we're going to see you all on Thursday talking about the world of boxing and beyond, all with you joining in with us. And I've been John Welch. Y'all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. We gonna see you all on Thursday. Be safe. Be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we're gonna see you back here on Thursday. Same time, same place, same channel. Peace and love. Salute to you. And we out of here.